is, well, I posted in the Fobonichi Journalers group and to see if anybody wanted me to do it, and the overwhelming response was yes. Okay, the video is about how to print photos using a basic word processing software. I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to be using it for a Mac, but these work on Windows with Word just as easy. It's just the basic principles of it. Once you see what I do, you can do this with a lot of different softwares. I'm going to show you that also. And again, there are a bazillion different ways to print your photos. What this is going to be about is how to print those odd size photos. This is not for printing collage photos, and this is not for doing photo editing or anything like that. If you're looking for that kind of stuff, I have a video on how to use one of the collage apps to print photos. And if you're looking for photo editing, I highly, highly, highly recommend PicMonkey.com. It's free. It's awesome. It lets you do everything you want to do. Yes. But for this video, it is about printing those odd size photos. You're trying to find something that fits exactly in a 2x2 box or a 2.5 box, or you're trying to print them for your planner or your Fobonichi or whatever. Or it may not even be a photo. Maybe it's a file you found online that you liked, a poster, that's a motivational poster or something, and you wanted to print that. This is for printing those odd size, weird, one or two, maybe, photos kind of thing. And again, I didn't invent this. It's not the wheel. And there are other ways to do it, but this is just how I would do it if I was printing an odd size photo. Let's go over the software first. There's lots of different softwares that you can use. If you're on a Mac, it's a little harder because we can't use Word. And if you're on a PC, a lot of the software you have to buy now. I don't think Word comes with it anymore. I think there's an option to it that comes with it. But anyways, these are free that you can download. They have all the same options as Microsoft Word, or, for doing spreadsheets and doing word processing and all of that kind of stuff, but they're free. The number one that I use and that I know of is the Apache Openoffice. You can use it. It literally will open any of the PC files, and it just is a great piece of software. Drawback to it is it's gigantic, but it works really, really well, and that's what we're going to be using for the tutorial. But I also wanted to show you that there's one called LibreOffice, and I have downloaded this one on my Mac, and it works really, really well, and I believe it also works for PC and Mac. OpenOffice is for both of them also. You can use it both on a PC or a Mac. I used to use it on my PC because I didn't buy Word. And I think it's Microsoft Office that all that stuff comes on. So anyways, this is a PC or Mac. This is a PC or Mac. The one that I use the most is not free. And I use the most on my Mac, I use PrintShop 2. It's not a cheap program. It's not an expensive program either. You can get it on sale for around $30. I'm not sure what the going price is. I don't think it says it on here. But I use this the most. I don't use the images that come with it or any of that kind of stuff. What I use the absolute most is just a blank piece of paper to resize different things. If you have received an envelope from me that's been printed on, if you've received a card from me that has been printed on, if you've received anything from me that has been printed on, or if you have seen anything in my journals that I've printed on, like my journaling cards that actually I printed on, I have done it with this program, and I love it. When I had a PC, I used Printmaster Platinum, and when I moved to a Mac, I cried rivers of tears because that program would not work with my Mac until I found this one. I don't know how the photo imaging on it is. I know that the photo editing's not bad, and but I use it for just the basic sheet. And if you're on a Mac and you do lots of printing, I really, really, really recommend it because it's very, very simple to use. But that's not the free option. Again, LibreOffice is a free option. Apache Openoffice is a free option. And if you're making stickers and you're wanting to print photos, Silhouette America also has a free option. I know a lot of people are like, but I don't have a die cutting machine. You don't need it. If all you're going to use it is for a printing and you want to print photos or you want to print and make and print stickers and stuff like that, you can download the Silhouette Basic edition. It's a free download. This was actually a little hard to find on their page for some odd reason. So I'm going to leave the link to all of these things down below. I recommend the free options. That's the ones I recommend if you're looking to buy a really like print shop. But Silhouette is a free option. You don't have to use your machine with it. If all you're going to do is print anyways, you could use this one and it would work just as easy. Yeah, so I wanted to put out the options out there for you on which one different software you could do it. Again, there's probably, and then of course there's Word, and I don't have that because I'm on a Mac. So basically what you need is you need a text document, Word document. I think in Libre they call them a write document. It's a blank piece of paper. You need a blank page. So we're going to use a text document in Openoffice. Okay, so basically when you open it up, you're going to see a screen that looks like this. It's technically the same in both LibreOffice and Word. It's a little bit different, but the reality, the basics of it are the same as if you were using it on Word. What we want to do is you see this gray line. This gray line is kind of going to be our guideline. Right now, it's way out there. It's like, I think 3/4 or to an inch. We want to change this gray line right here. You can see it blinking next to the cursor. We want to go to Format, Page, and then we want to change all the margins to 1/4 of an inch. And the reason we want to change them to 1/4 of an inch is the fact that when you go to print out your photo, you want to waste as little paper as you want. This will if you have 1/4 of an inch border, you'll know that you'll have 1/4 of an inch at the beginning of your paper. Make sense? Probably not, but go with me with it. You can leave the orientation any way that you have. I always put 1/4 inch down and it never lets me do it all the way around, but just say yes when it hits here. Okay, so now you can see, I haven't done one of these in a long, long time, so you'll have to forgive me if I stutter a little bit through it. Now you see that the gray border has moved out to the side. This will happen in all of the softwares. You will see the border of your page move out. Now when you print it, if you were to type right here, okay, and you click print, this would be 1/4 of an inch from the edge of your paper, and that's what we want. Now, how to get a photo in here. I have learned through trial and error that drag and drop does not always work in all software instances. So what I recommend is that you actually insert the photo. It gives you a little more ability to mess with your stuff. In LibreOffice, it dumps it into a completely separate file, and you don't want to do that. So the easiest way that I have found is to go up to Insert, go down to your picture from File, and then go find your picture. And I'm going to use this one. It's on my desktop. You guys know how to find a file. And choose Open. Anytime you don't know something and I assume you know something, please leave a comment down below that, okay, I don't know how to find a photo, and I'll walk you through that. But this is the photo that we're going to play with today. I want to print this in my Fobonichi. I want it to be a particular size. Now, in this software, you have a properties window that pops up here. If you don't have that, you can also right-click on your page and choose Picture. Okay, and it gives you the same pretty much property issues. I'm going to use that one because I always tend to lose my sidebars when I'm playing with it. So yeah. Anyways, right click on the picture, choose picture from the drop down, and you will get a page that looks like this. What we want to do is we're going to be working with this section right here, and hopefully my mouse is showing up. I click that, so if it doesn't, let me know. So we're going to change this picture to fit into, let's put it in my Happy Planner. My Happy Planner boxes are 1.5 inches wide by 2.5 inches tall. And I have found that they are not universal throughout all the happy planners. How annoying. But we want this to fit. I know that the height won't be right because this is a landscape photo. Now, if you wanted it to fit exactly in the box, you're going to have to go and do a lot of changes to the photo. But we're going to do just basic print, resize and print first, okay? So what you want to do is you want to keep the ratio because this will keep your photo from doing that stretchy, weird look that it's not the right size. If you don't keep your ratio, the height will change and the width will change, but they'll change independently and you'll get a warped look to your photo. So this is really simple. This is pretty much all there is to this entire process. Bring your photo into the paper, into the spreadsheet. I guess it's a document. Right click on it, choose picture, keep ratio, and then we're going to change the width. We only need to change one to 1.5. Once you've done that, everything else doesn't matter. Okay? We'll go back into a little bit of the details here, but for right now, we're just resizing to print. We resized it to 1.5 inches wide, and we're going to click OK. And it automatically changes the photo down to the correct width that you want it to be. Now, if all you're wanting to do is this one photo, this is where you have to figure out what kind of printer you have. I have a rear feed printer. I would put my photo paper, which is usually from the Dollar Tree. I highly recommend it. It prints really well. It's a 4x6 sheet. You can get them bigger sheets, but I use the 4x6. 20 for $1, can't beat that. I would put my photo paper in the rear feed of my printer, and then right now I would click print if that's all I wanted to do. The reason I would leave it in the middle is because my rear feed is center fed, meaning that depending on what size paper you put it on, you always want to have your paper centered in the feed tray in the back. I have not used the under tray where I put my regular paper. If you have a printer that doesn't have a rear feed, you will have to figure out how your printer feeds smaller paper if you use 4x6. Most of the time when you pull your printer tray out, and I'm so glad you guys can't see me because I am mega talking with my hands. If you pull your printer tray out, there'll be numbers written on it, A5, A6, A4, envelope, things like that. A lot of the times, I believe with my old Hewlett-Packard ones, I used the envelope setting because it was the smallest one you could go down to. So what you have to do is you have to find where in your feed tray in your printer it feeds your photo paper. So for mine, I would leave it in the center because I have a rear feed tray. If your feed tray has you, for example, putting envelopes in it or your 4x6 papers, most of the time when you print, it will tell you where to place your paper. So when you go to print it, you're going to move it either over to here because it's going to be an envelope or a 4x6 sheet or whatever. Unfortunately, there is no way for me to tell you where to put it on your paper because every printer is going to feed just a little bit different. But once you know where your printer feeds from, it's really simple to line it up. So if you have one that feeds envelopes, those are usually off to the side. You just would move it over and print it just like this. So wherever your feed is where you move your photo. Here's another thing you can do. Let's stop there. That is how you basically do it. Bring it into the Word document, right click on it, resize it, print it. That's the basics. That's all there is to it. So let's say you want to use up a whole 4x6 sheet. What I would do in this software, and in Libre it's a little different, you would insert an actual shape, but I'm going to go off of Openoffice because most people download Openoffice for if you have a PC or a Mac. Okay, you want to insert a frame, all right? And so we want to have the frame to be a particular size. So what we want to do is we want to change the size. The width is going to be 4 inches wide and the height is going to be 6 inches wide, and just hit OK. That gives us a frame. What this is you can consider this to be your basic 4x6 sheet of paper. Okay? Okay. So once you've inserted a frame, basically what you want to do is you want to move it up to the top and center it. Easily done by alignment. I just go to alignment, I go clear up to the top and I click the middle and it puts it in the middle of the page for me. Again, remember, if you are using a different printer that feeds differently than mine does, you will need to move this frame wherever your feed is for your 4x6 sheets of paper. If you're using a full-size sheet, well, it doesn't matter where you put it then. But mostly you want to make sure that this frame, if you're doing a specific size paper, it can be whatever size paper, but specifically we're going to do 4x6. You want it to be outside this border. And if you wanted to do envelopes and stuff, this would be the same way, because you're going to not print outside the 1/4 inch border. So now we're going to put a whole bunch of photos on here. So we're going to bring the photo over, and we're going to put it wherever we want it. Now remember, you can't put it up here because half your picture won't print. So you would put it here. Now we're going to pretend that we have a whole bunch of photos that are different. So just think of these as being different. Oops. All right, so now we have our paper filled out. You can put as many photos as you want to put in this 4x6 area. If you want white space, leave white space. If you don't want white space, just squish them over here together. I'm sure that there's a whole alignment thing that you can do. I'm not going to get into how to work Openoffice. I don't use it that much, so I just don't really know. If you know a lot about your word processing software, have at it. But this is just the basics. So we're going to pretend I filled this whole thing up. Once you get it to this point, you're going to want to turn off your border color, because if you leave your border color on, your border color is going to print. So what I do is I just click on the border, I go down to frame, and I just change the color. You go to borders, because we're changing the border, and I just change it to white. I hit OK, and as you can see, the border disappears. You have it in this position. Now you just want to print it. So I'll show you how it works on mine. Again, your printer is going to be just a little bit different. PC is going to look a little bit different, but all I have to show you on is my Mac. So yeah, but you're going to just print it like you would normally print. So for me, I would go to File and then Print. It'll bring up this screen, which shows me where on my page my stuff is going to print. Now again, this is your moment to put it in your printer where you want it to be. If you can print like this from your rear feed, that's what I recommend, because it's just easiest. But you'll have to change that and move it around. I wouldn't change anything because I don't want it to be anywhere else. The only thing that I would change is that I want to change the quality, because you have to remember that you're working in a Word document. It thinks it's going to be plain paper. We want it to be photo paper. So for my software, I would go into Quality and Media. I would change mine to photo paper. The one that I use, again, is from the Dollar Tree. It's cheap. It prints beautifully. Don't spend a lot of money on photo paper. To glossy photo paper would be the next option. For me, I would change it to the rear tray, but you put it where you print. So for mine, I would print it on the rear tray, and then you change the print quality to what you want. I have a Canon MG6220. I always print it on standard because I have never needed to print it on high quality. Standard, all of my photos are done in standard, and they are beautiful and they work great, and I just don't see a need for the extra ink. But if you're printing something special, change the ink quality to what you want it to be. So I'm going to leave it on standard, and then I would just hit print and it would print it. I don't want to print 4 photos of this, so I'm not going to print it. But I just wanted, this is what you would do, and you would go to print. So after you've printed your thing, the only thing that I recommend at the very, very end of this is that you save this file. So I would go up to File, Save As, and you want to save it as whatever file extension it comes up as, because that's the file that you're working with. I would save it as a .odt because that's the main one that works with it. Microsoft saves it as a document. Just leave it at whatever its base format is. And just to show you, this software does read all of these different kinds of Word and XML, DOC, the whole works. But I would just save it as whatever it is. And I would put something that you remember for printing small photos. I don't know, whatever you want to do. And you want to save it someplace that you'll remember it. The reason that you want to save this is because every single time you open your software, you will have to reset all of your settings. So this way, if you just save it, you can every time you reopen it, it will open as this file. And that way you don't have to reset all of your, it's ready to go. So you don't have to save it with the photos in it, of course, but you save your format at least. All right, so how did we do? We've got open a Word document, insert a photo, insert a frame or a rectangular shape, depending on your software. I believe in Word, it's also frame. You may just have to figure that out. I'm not positive. Leave a comment down below if you have a question on that. I will try to figure that out, but I believe it's the same. Table and you have table and frame option. Set up your frame to the size of the paper that you're going to be printed on. Add your photos and resize them as you see your need. Place them on the paper and print. Don't forget to change your printer to photo quality, to photo paper. If you have any questions, leave them down below. I'm sorry this is kind of stuttered through. It's been a long time since I've done a walkthrough tutorial, and I will answer any questions that I possibly can. There are a billion different ways to print your photos. This is just one of them. I hope it helps somebody, and you guys have a wonderful day. I will see you in the next video. Bye now.